Today we're going to talk about the age-old question of Traxxas versus Arrma. Which one of these brands makes better cars? And also specifically, which one of these cars is better and which one do I like best? Before we go any further, yes, I know these two vehicles are not the perfect comparison to compare these two brands, but this is the only Arrma that I have, and this is the only Traxxas that I have closest to this Arrma Typhon Grum. So this is what I have to compare today. And I know that Arrma just came out with a new Mojave Grum, which would be almost the perfect comparison to this Mini Slash, but of course I don't have that yet. I probably won't ever have that actually, because I already have this. I don't really need another one like that. So anyways, we have these two today. So this first thing that's going to be about pretty much every car in the lineup of each brand is the pricing, or at least the average pricing of their cars and what size, what you get for the money. So for the minis, the Traxxas 1/16 scale Mini Slash, which is what this is, costs about $200. And this Mini Typhon Grum costs about $140. So the Typhon is significantly cheaper than the Mini Slash, and the new Mojave Grum is, I believe, about the same price as this Typhon. So at least for the minis, Arrma is a little bit cheaper. Now when it comes to the bigger cars in the lineup of each brand, they're about the same overall. Of course, with Traxxas, you have the two-wheel drive Slash and the four-wheel drive Slash, brushed and brushless versions of both of those, and then the ultimate version. And of course that also goes for most of the other cars in their lineup. And Arrma is quite similar with their 3S BLX lineup of cars, that they have brushed and brushless versions, and now they have those two-wheel drive boost versions, which are really cheap. So if you're looking to get your very first RC car, then those Arrma two-wheel drive boost versions of a few of their cars would be a really good option. Traxxas do also make quite a few other affordable cars, but they're not quite as affordable as the Arrma cars, or at least as some of the Arrma cars. Most of the affordable Traxxas cars are like $200 to $250, whereas some of those Arrmas are actually under $200 for just the most basic versions of the trucks. Now, Arrma do also have many more large, like super-sized cars and trucks, and those are obviously going to be more expensive. Now, Traxxas does have the X-Max and the XRT, which are, I believe, right at $1,000, if not a little bit higher. And Arrma has several different, like 1/5 and 1/6 scale trucks that are absolutely massive and cost well over $1,000. So for those really big ones, you're getting about exactly what you pay for with those. Some of the Arrma trucks just have a little bit more to them than some of the Traxxas ones. They're a little bit different, whereas Traxxas only offers those two really big trucks, but Arrma has a whole lineup of those huge trucks. Also, really quick, if you want to buy either of these trucks, or you just want to know a little bit more about them, I'll put links in the description below to where you can find both of these trucks, and those will be affiliate links. So if you choose to buy anything using those links, I'll get a very small commission of that purchase with no additional cost to you. So it's a great way to support the channel and get yourself some awesome little toys. So for overall build quality, electronics quality, just kind of parts wise, how durable these trucks are, at least in my experience and to my knowledge, they're about the same in most areas. Of course, every different truck is going to have a different weak spot, and I haven't found a weak spot on this Typhon yet because I've only owned it for a couple of weeks, but I have owned this Mini Slash for a couple of years now, and I can confidently say that this thing is pretty much bulletproof. It is really insane. On these two models specifically, they both come with brushed electronics that can support up to a 2S LiPo. Typhon Grum comes with a 2-cell LiPo, and the Mini Slash comes with a just normal 7.2 volt nickel metal hydride. A little bit of a difference there. Obviously with the 2-cell you're going to get a little bit more power out of the Typhon, and if you upgrade the Mini Slash to a Traxxas 2-cell LiPo, you're going to get a little bit more power out of that as well. So for build quality, Traxxas build quality has always been really solid. It's just really good. They make great stuff. Everything is sturdy. It just feels good. But I will say that the Arrma, it feels almost just a little bit better, to be completely honest. It just feels a little bit sturdier, a little bit just nicer in some areas. But like I said earlier, I don't think there's much of a difference in durability between the trucks. I think that they just kind of feel a little bit different, and at least to me personally, the Arrmas just feel a little bit more like they can take a little bit more. But the Traxxas, obviously Traxxas trucks can take an absolute beating, as I've experienced with my Mini Slash and my 10 scale Slash, as well as a Traxxas Telluride that I have, which is basically an older version of the Stampede. They're all super duper durable, and this is the only Arrma I've had so far. But so far, it just takes a beating. It just keeps going. I absolutely love it. One of the biggest things that I've noticed between Arrmas and Traxxas, and this is on every vehicle that I've ever seen and driven, and that is that the suspension on Arrmas is always 10 times nicer than it is on Traxxas vehicles. The Traxxas suspension is not bad. I'm not trying to trash talk Traxxas because their suspension is nice. But the Arrma suspension is just always better, at least in my opinion, for what I want it to be. I'm not entirely sure what it is that makes it so much nicer, but it just feels smoother. It feels very plush, but also pretty stiff and sturdy at the same time. It just feels really, really good, and on the bigger vehicles, it feels very realistic. When you're driving it, it acts like you'd expect a full-size version of the car to drive. Whereas the Traxxas cars generally feel a bit more like RC cars when you're driving them. Of course, I haven't driven every single Traxxas car, but at least from all the ones that I have driven, it feels like it's a mini little car. But the Arrmas almost feel like it's a big car just kind of shrunk down, but it still has the feel that you'd expect to feel from driving a full-size one, at least if you're driving it remotely. Now when it comes to specifically electronics in both the Traxxas and Arrma trucks, kind of like the rest of all of their cars, I can't really say that one is better than the other, at least from my experience. I've heard that overall the Arrma ESCs are generally better than Traxxas ESCs, but for motors, I don't really know, to be honest. I think they both make great electronics. Same thing with like the different servos that they use and other accessories that these brands use. I think they're both really good. I think it's a pretty even match in that department. With the overall design of the cars from each brand, the Arrma cars seem to be a little bit more thought through. Like the designs are a little bit more intentional, especially with, say, just this Typhon Grom here. The way that the body fits on, let me grab this body here so I can show you. The whole chassis was kind of designed to fit this body perfectly, so that everything is closed off, besides a couple of vents here and there, like there's some back there, but everything else is closed off so you don't get the inside of your truck super dirty. Whereas with the Mini Slash, as you can see, there has been no attempt made to protect the inside of the truck. It just gets every bit of dirt inside of it, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing, because that's just kind of expected when you drive your RC in some nasty conditions. But it's a really awesome thing to have on this Arrma, that it's just completely protected. You can see too, all up here in the front and in the back on the suspension, on the arms and everything, there's a little bit of dirt because I've been driving in the dust lately, and there's absolutely none inside under where the body goes. So that's a really awesome thing. Just a couple other things too, with how they kind of put together their cars, the way that everything is very modular and very easy to take apart sections. It seems very well thought through. Now Traxxas does have that a little bit, but it's a little bit more complex and a bit more confusing than the Arrmas, at least to me personally. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments if you prefer Arrma or Traxxas, or if you just don't have a preference. Maybe you like some cars better from one brand and some cars better from the other. I think that's where most people stand on that, because they're both incredible brands. They both make awesome trucks and cars. They're just so cool. It's just, RC cars are fun. If you want to see more videos about this Arrma Typhon Grom, you can click right here for a playlist about that. And if you want to see more on this Mini Traxxas Slash, you can click right here for a full playlist on that, and I will see you over there.